The point of this training today is to really get into the minutia, the details of setting an appointment. Listen, we get our resources, we triple dial, we smile and dial. Really recommend heavily get on Dial Team on Friday. The new Blitz Dial that's going on Saturday. Make those priorities in your schedules. Make them non-negotiables. You know, part of my story of success was I dialed every Saturday for 5 years, except for 5 Saturdays. So one Saturday a year I wouldn't dial. I'm not saying that's what it takes. I'm just saying that's what I was willing to do to win. And I'm not saying I dialed 4 hours every Saturday. Some Saturdays it was 30 minutes, right? I mean, very few times was that, but it was an hour or two almost every Saturday. Lake houses, basements, closets, bedrooms, offices that I did not live in, you know, places that I was. Friday, I remember Friday morning after Thanksgiving in Iowa, down in my in-laws basement, everyone's off shopping. I'm dialing. And I remember the first person that picked up, brand new direct mail A lead, hung up on me because I was not in a good mood because I was dialing. And I had to change that. So I put a dumb smile on my face and I called him back. But so who here knows what is the purpose of dialing? And I do want an answer on this one. It is rhetorical, but what is the purpose of dialing? Come on, just give it to me real quick. Ephraim?
To talk to people.
Okay, and why do we want to talk to them?
Because we have something that they ask for.
Right, and what are we trying to do by talking to them?
Find out their needs.
Patrick Zimmerman's all over this. He put in the chat to set quality appointments. Pat, you know right where I'm going. Are you reading my script? But really the purpose of dialing is not, and it's not just to talk, right? It's not just to set an appointment, but it's to set a quality appointment. And I can tell you there are certain levels where quality just goes down. So do you want to set 10 appointments to only sit on 4? Or would you rather set 8 appointments and sit on 5 or 6 of those? Right? I'd rather set 8 and sit on 5 or 6. So there is this, we find quality in the quantity, but if you're setting these appointments and your show ratio is below 50%, I think what happens in this business is we deceive ourselves going, set 10 appointments. I set 20 appointments. But if you're only sitting on less than 50%, this number looks good, but this number looks bad. And the ones that we sit on is where we're going to make all of our money. And so when we're digging into our numbers, listen, we're a big number business. We talk about them every Monday. We post them on Slack. We want you posting your numbers. But in this, we want to set quality appointments. And that quality is going to come through closing business. And we're not going to talk about closing business today because I don't have the time. But I'm telling you, you want the quality. And so with this, the one thing, a couple little nuggets that I want to get to, we're going to get to the end of the script. I'm talking about setting the appointment. I'm not going to go into introductions. We're not going to deal with rebuttals today. We're not going to go into gathering health info and getting their height and weight and prescriptions and all that stuff. We're going to go to the end because here's what happens. We're dialing. Oh, and then we get into the health information. We're getting a little more excited, right? And we're getting a little bit more, and they're being really nice about giving us, I'm a diabetic, I take this, I have this. And then what happens is we get towards the end of our script and we speed up to set the appointment. And so I don't know if you guys have your scripts printed out, if you want to write this down, but when you get toward the end of your script, that's where you need to slow down. It is the biggest thing that gets missed with this. And I get it. I just want to freaking set an appointment so I have one. I understand that. I want you to set a quality appointment so you sit on one, so you have the opportunities. And so first thing here is when you get to the end of your script, you have to slow down. We all naturally speed up. Oh, they only have a minute. They're in a hurry. I'm in a hurry. Slow down. And here's where I want you guys to slow down specifically, because it's the golden question. Hey, what were you looking for this coverage to do for you and your family? I want you to say it slow. I want you to actually care. And I want you to listen. And you're going to get a couple of responses. I mean, I'm not really sure. I just want to see what this is all about. Okay. Well, this is about, as you saw on the lead or on the call that you heard or online, however that lead came in. Hey, you saw it's about protecting the home in case of an unexpected death or disability or critical illness. When you saw that, when you saw those options, what did you want this coverage to do for your family? Right? We're going to just wait for a response. Well, I mean, in case something happens to me. I said, okay, I know that's not easy to think about, but what do you mean if something happens to you? And then you just wait for a response. Well, I mean, if like, if I die or get cancer or something like that, I just want to make sure the home's taken care of. I said, okay. I said, I know it's not easy to think about, but what would it look like for your family, if that were to happen, you didn't have this coverage? I really don't know. I said, okay. So it's really kind of the point of why you're looking at this is so you know that the home is protected. Yeah, no, that's why I'm looking. I said, okay, well, hey, I appreciate that. I can definitely help you with that. Huge words right there. We have slowly, but kind of efficiently unpacked the reason that they applied for this. So know this with leads. I don't know the stat with our digital leads, but I do know the stat on our analog direct mail leads. We get about a 1 to 1.5% return ratio on those. Send out 100, we're going to get about 1 to 1.5 back. So imagine how much it costs to send out 100 leads. So what I know with that, here's where my brain goes. The 1% that responded to it has a reason, whether it's conscious or subconscious, that they should look into this. The other 99% looked at that and threw it away. But that 1% that responded, there's something there that in the back of their brain going, I probably should look into this. When we slow down and ask that golden question, we need to uncover what was that thing that they saw somewhat. We'll dig deeper into the appointment. We'll do that at a later time. But that's the passion that I have. And that's why I slow down. I really want to uncover, hey, why did you send this in? I'm going to ask about 2 more questions on that. But then that's a hard question to ask. Like, what does it look like if you were to die? And they're going to give you kind of like, well, I don't know. So the next words that we need to say are, hey, don't worry, I can definitely help you out with this. I work with over 40 different carriers, and I'm going to find you some options. What I need to do, I need to find a little 10 or 15-minute window that I can meet with you and your spouse. I do everything virtual. Now, I've got a little bit of time on Wednesday or Thursday this week. Which day works best for the both of you? Oh man, Marty, we're really busy. I said, hey guys, I know I'm super busy too. You can imagine how many people I'm trying to help, but I know this is important to you, right? I just took that emotion that I uncovered and I'm connecting it to the appointment. You guys get that? Without this, there's no connection. What are the chances of them showing up? Less than 50%. And we want better than that. So I go, hey, I know this is important to you. I'm here to work for you. I'll find a time that works. We just need to get the day. Which day is best for you and your spouse? It's gonna have to be Thursday. Wednesday's packed. Okay. My Thursday's busy, but let me see where I can squeeze you guys in. Is afternoon or evening better for the both of you? Always for the both of you. It's not one-legged appointments. You are 99.9% sure to get to think about it. And I only say 99.9% because I think one time I closed one-legged one time ever. So he's like, yeah, it's gonna have to be Thursday evening. Okay, Thursday evening. That's kind of a busy time for me too. Hey, when are you both normally home from work together on a Thursday evening? And he goes, well, Marty, that's the problem. It's not till really late. I said, don't worry about that. I actually specialize in working with people late at night. He goes, okay, we're not home till 7:15. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of late. I actually can't do 7:15. but I can't get you guys squeezed in at like 7:40, or I could do it 8:05. Which one works best for you guys? Now, the 7:40 should work. Okay, the 7:40 should work. I'm trying to get you guys squeezed in here. I want to make sure that's going to give you both enough time to get home. And this is a priority for you, that 7:40 will work. Yeah, it will. I said, okay, are you sure? Yeah, absolutely. I said, okay, I have to make sure with my schedule. Like I said, I'm helping a lot of people. I just want to make sure that this is going to be a priority for you guys, so that this is going to work well. And that's how you set a quality appointment. So there's a lot of things that can get missed in the script, where if we miss that emotion, the priority isn't there. And then he said, well, 7:40 should work. I'm not in the should business when I'm trying to set appointments, right? If he can't do 7:40, I'm going to do one of two things with that 7:40. I'm going to set another appointment in there. I'm going to go spend time with my family, right? And that's what I want for you guys. And so I know, but like, I really want to get this appointment. I want my numbers to look good on Slack. I want to blah, blah, blah. And I go, I get it, but you're busy. Your time is valuable and precious. And so it's okay. Well, I'm afraid to push back because, well, what if they don't set the appointment? Do you think that that's going to be a quality appointment? Right. And so I want to try to change y'all's brains a little bit on going, hey, this is your business. Your time is valuable. And we are trying to help the people that are in here. And so just quick little recap on this, because I know I'm dumping a lot on you guys, but it's slow down. Always ask that golden question. Hey, what are you looking for this coverage to do? And at least ask 2 more questions. And if you need to have those written out, write them out, right? They're going to give you either like, hey, if I die, I'm not sure. Rarely do we get that response. Typically, it's like, well, if something happens to me. That is the typical response that we get. Hey, okay, well, what do you mean if something happens to you? It's a caring question. And then, well, what would it look like if that did happen to you and we didn't have this coverage? Well, I think we'd be okay. Okay, so you think you'd be okay is really the purpose of you looking into this, is to make sure that your family is okay? Yeah, that's it. Great. And you should always say this, hey, I can definitely help you out with that. Because if you go straight into the appointment, it's kind of like, like we just uncovered, like we're kind of ripping the Band-Aid off and open up someone emotionally, and then we're just moving on. Like, no, hey, I can definitely help you out with this. Right. And then we're moving to the appointment. So do you guys feel how, if we can accomplish that the likelihood of them showing up at the appointment skyrockets? Does that make sense to everybody on here? A little bit? Okay. That's the piece of it that I really wanted to deliver today. I could do a ton of other things, make sure you're sending out the emails, and there's a lot of logistical things that you're going to do when you're setting that appointment, right? And that's fine, work on those, but you can screw all those up as long as you lock down the appointment verbally. Trust me, I have the worst time typing in someone's email address when like I'm on the phone and talking to them and trying to pull up my thing. Like I have butchered so many emails. So I realized one of the last things I do is like, hey, I'm going to send you an appointment invitation here really quick. Let me get your email. Okay, hey, do you have access to that email really quick? All right, I'm terrible at typing in email addresses. A lot of times my stuff goes to spam. Hey, did you get that email? Yeah, I got it. I do all my appointments through Google Calendar, so I know that they can click accept on there. And I go, hey, all right, I just want to make sure, can you click that you're going to attend so that gets confirmed on my calendar? Oh, yeah, did it. Guess what? I'm going to see it on my end as soon as they do it with my Google Calendar. So again, take those extra steps to make sure they're getting your information. Make sure that they're confirming there's a little bit of a commitment to that little click. And these are all little things that add up to maybe one more appointment sitting. But you've really got to slow down when you're setting that appointment. Because if it's shaky at that point, then you don't have a quality appointment. And now you have a number that is ultimately setting you up for disappointment. Now I have set appointments, and I got veterans on here. I know Wes and Britt are on here, and I have set appointments where I'm like, that appointment sucks. Now, listen, I'm not perfect by any means, but here's what I know is I can set an appointment, go, that appointment sucks. I'm probably going to call them or text them the day before to confirm. because I set myself up for so much I cannot tell you how many times I've sat in this chair waiting for them to jump on a Zoom meeting. And I know they're not. What do? I call them, I text them, I've taken all this time out of the day, whatever it is. And so I really, it goes like, my time is valuable and precious. There's no way I'm going to lose. Think about this for a second. There's no way you're going to lose a good appointment by checking in with them the day before. That doesn't make sense. Oh, I can't believe he checked in with me to make sure I was going to be there. I'm canceling this appointment. That would never happen for a good appointment ever in the history of appointment setting. So don't be afraid if you've got one that you're like, has anybody ever done this? This is actually an exercise I haven't done in a long time. Here's an exercise I want you guys to do. When you set an appointment, I don't know, however you track your appointments, whatever it is, next to that appointment, when you're collecting there, or maybe on the CQF, right on there, is it a 1, 2, or 3? A 1 is, I did a great job, that's awesome. A 2 is, it was pretty good, or a 3 is, I'm gonna have to call them to find out. Grade your appointments, right? The 3s you better be calling the day before or the day of to make sure. And if not, free up that time for, again, either more income making activities or time with your family. I'm really passionate about that for you guys. And so go ahead and grade them, and I'm telling you, especially for new agents, if you're working with your upline to get ready for appointments and you're focusing all your energy on a 3, like, let's work on the 1s and 2s that you set first, because let's spend the energy in the right places with that. So that's what I want you guys to focus on, because the more times you can sit on appointments and stack those up, right? It's like, oh man, my first appointment today, I didn't get into the emotion that well. I gave pricing before I had all the questions asked, or I was just all over the map. Been there, done that. Well, if you have more appointments that you're going to sit on, then you can correct quicker. Where if you have an appointment on a Monday and you don't sit on another one till Wednesday or Thursday, it's hard to build that momentum off of the mistakes that you made. And so I'm telling you, sitting on quality appointments is going to get you the momentum so much faster, and it's going to make your numbers look a little more real, and your expectations of what you have should be much better than, hey, Wes, yeah, I set 10 appointments this week. I only set on 2 of them. Let's we're all going to get reschedules. Even the best of us are going to get rescheduled, right? I don't care how good you are, you're going to get rescheduled. But like, if you set 10 and you're only sitting on 2, there's holes in the boat. We might have to get a whole new boat, but we can do that. But like, those are the things that I want you guys to focus on, is let's get you sitting on quality appointments, and now watch your income just go up. So I want to take some questions from you guys, just on appointments, just on what we talked about. And I really want to see kind of maybe, hey, this is what I was doing wrong, or hey, I really like this. But what questions you guys have for me in kind of the appointment setting to make sure your sit ratio goes up?
Hey, Marty, I have a quick question.
Yeah, hey, Victor.
So I seem to be having, I wouldn't say an issue, but more people saying they would rather do it over the phone than on Zoom. Is there a specific script or something you say to get somebody on a Zoom call? Because I feel like being on a Zoom call would be much more efficient and effective way to show them things, but people typically are tending to tell me, no, let's just do it over the phone. It's quicker, it's easier for me.
Yep, I got an easy fix for you on this one. Well, hey, Victor, don't unmute really quick. I have a question. Do you give them the option for a phone call?
I do.
That's your first problem. Don't give them the option. So
Okay.
do it like this. Hey, Victor, great. I can definitely help you out with this. I just need to find a little 10 or 15-minute window to sit down with you and your wife to go over the options. Now, I do all my appointments virtually over Zoom. Are you guys familiar and comfortable with that? So give me a response on that, Victor. Are you familiar and comfortable with that?
A lot of the people I've been talking to are a little older, so I feel like some of them would say no, maybe not, maybe they haven't used it or.
Great. Well, I get that. Some people aren't, but if I sent you over a link and all I need you to do is click on it and it'll pop everything up. You have a computer with a camera. Is that comfortable and easy for you? By the way, I get 95% of the time I get a yes to that. Hey, I'm just going to send you over a link. I just need you to click on it for our meeting.
Okay.
There's no option for a phone call. Like, like 95% of your meetings will be over Zoom if you just do it that way. Hey, I do all of my meetings virtually over Zoom. Are you guys familiar with that? You know how many 80-year-olds I've done Zoom on? Oh yeah, I do Zoom. My church bridge team, or whatever club. COVID changed everything. Like they're like, oh yeah, I do all my Bible studies over Zoom with my. So I just don't give them the option.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. Easy fix. But I would say your sit ratios on a Zoom meeting, your close ratios on a Zoom meeting are going to be much higher than a phone. I do phone call appointments. I did one last week, closed it. So I'm not saying don't do them. But Victor, to your point, I think it is like they have to be focused. If they're on the phone, they could be anywhere. Kids' baseball game, cooking dinner, running around at Walmart. I've run into all those too.
Yeah.
A Zoom meeting, you are setting up the professional expectation that, hey, I need you to be in front of your computer.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Wouldn't you expect, if you have a husband and wife sitting in front of a camera, listening to you, as opposed to maybe on a speakerphone if you're lucky, which appointment do you think is more likely to trust you and purchase from you?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely having them on a Zoom.
Yep. So great question, by the way. Absolutely great question. All right. What else you guys got? Maria, I saw you said here you've been asking at the beginning of the call, does it make a difference? I think so. Maria, were you asking about the emotional question? Like, what do you want this coverage to do for you? Okay. So I personally, listen, if it's working, don't change a thing. If it's not working, the reason it's the last question that I ask is because I want to take that emotion. And again, I want to tie it into the lockdown of the appointment. If it's at the beginning, if I'm going at the beginning, I'm asking health questions, I'm getting all this different stuff. And then like, great, let's set an appointment. There's this huge gap between the emotion and the appointment. So for me, it's the last, hey, I got one last
Hey, Randy.
Hey, Richard.
Richard's having a good time. But that's why I want to have that emotion at the very end, because I want to set a good appointment. So I would highly recommend making that, hey, I got one last question for you. And this really lets me know how to help you best. When you responded to this, what are you looking for this coverage to do for you? All right. Any other questions out there?
I got one that I'll ask because I was just asked it. What do you do whenever you have someone on the phone and they want to talk to you like you are their long lost grandchild, but you got to go?
Yeah, it's staying in control. It is. I've had to be I'm not a rude person. I'm a nurturer by nature, so it's hard for me. But like my time, I remember I had this lady one time. I mean, she's fostering kids and doing mission work and all this incredible stuff. And I'm like, this is the best conversation I've ever had. And it was over an hour long setting this appointment. Got down to setting the appointment. She goes, yeah, I don't think we really need this. I was like, that's 100% on me. So I go, hey, I got a couple quick questions. They start getting into their health details. Hey, I appreciate the details. I actually just need the basics so I can do some research. And I'm really just trying to make this brief so I can really spend some time getting options for you. Like you're busy. You got to move them along. That means, and if they're going into that, that means you kind of lost control and you're probably not going to set a good appointment. So good question. All right, what else we got? Brittany, you can keep asking. No one else is. Oh, Pat, what do we got?
How do you phrase it when, or, the spouse doesn't need to be there because I've backed into some one-legged appointments last week and I need to put a stop to that. So some Marty wisdom on how to phrase that and a better way to do that. Thank you.
All right, Patrick, stay unmuted. Nope, stay unmuted. You're going to be the guy. That's going to be Mr. Tough Guy that, I make all the decisions, right? All right. Hey, Patrick, I can definitely help you out with that. I just need to find a 10 or 15-minute window to do a brief virtual appointment with you and your wife. I kind of do everything over Zoom. Are you guys familiar and comfortable with that?
With Zoom, yeah. I don't know when she's gonna be there, so it's just gonna be me.
Well, Patrick, I really meet with both husband and wife. Are you the decision maker in the household?
Yes,
I said, okay. Now, is this coverage for you or is this coverage for her?
both.
Both. Okay. So if it's for both, I really need to speak to both of you. Now, I know there's gonna be a lot of information that I'm gonna give you guys. But the other thing too is if we're really looking for coverage to protect her and something happens to you and you're not with us anymore, I'm going to be the one that she's going to reach out to. So I think it's important that she knows all this information. And really more importantly, she knows me because to be honest with you, if you're gone, I'm going to be the one that she's going to be calling. Does that kind of make sense?
Yep.
Well, she's just so busy. And I said, hey, I'm busy too, but is this important to you to really make sure that you guys are protected? Right? I'm going to ask that question. Yeah, I was like, okay, then hey, let's find a time. I can find a time that works for both of you guys. I'm here to help you out. Hey, when are you guys both normally home together? Because I'm trying to set a good appointment, right? So I'm not trying to set an appointment. I'm trying to set a good appointment.
Okay.
Yep. Great. That happens all the time. But yeah, one-legged appointments, they don't work.
If you've already
What do you do
established
with the, oh, sorry.
sorry, if you've already established how important that is, you can just bring that back up too. So as we already discussed, it's important for both of you. It's just as important for both of you to be in the appointment, something like that.
Yep. But I always just bring it. I just call them like, hey, if you're gonna have this coverage, you're gonna be dead. They're gonna be talking to me. And I also go, hey, we're also gonna be covering a lot of details that's gonna be very hard for you to try to explain to your wife that she would be able to use. So I gotta have her on the appointment. And again, if they push back and won't do it, do you think that that's a good appointment? Is that appointment you want to have? It's like, is that a 1, 2, or 3? It's probably like a 5. I don't even have a scale for that, right? So that's the part of like stick to your guns and set good appointments. And I'm telling you, push back on people, and it's the pushback is that you care. I'm telling you, like the biggest thing here, setting a good appointment is actually caring, because we really do need both of them on there. It is super, super important. I also will throw a stat out there. The last number I heard, I know it's climbed since then. There is $4 billion with a B dollars of unclaimed life insurance because people didn't know they had it. So go ahead and use that one in your appointment. I was like, listen, I don't want that to be one of my clients. It's important that your wife knows what's going on, or your husband. I just say spouse, but like it goes both ways. It's a massive number. These insurance companies are like, good to go for us. That's a lot of unclaimed death benefits. So I'll use that statistic too. All right. What else we got? We got a little bit of time.
One more.
Hey.
When they are not married, but they're older, how do you tactfully ask if do you want somebody else in that meeting? Because that reared its head too.
Yeah, that's a really good
way
one.
I asked.
So I think what Patrick is going to on this one is, here's where I found it, is a widowed or older divorced lady. And I mean, like 70s plus. I hate to put them in such a category. But when it's that case, I go, hey, great, we can definitely help you out for this. Hey, can I ask you, who would this coverage be for? Well, it's for my kids. And I said, okay, I think it's important to have, who would be your main beneficiary on here so that they know what's going on and can make sure you're making an informed decision. Who would that be? Can we get them on there? Because you'll get I gotta go talk to my kids about this. So that's a great one, Pat. It is something that's huge. Like, hey, we can just get them on a call. Hey, what's their email address? Let me send them an email so they have my information as well. Get all that. Absolutely. Ephraim, what do you got?
So yeah, so my appointment yesterday was just me spending 30 minutes giving them like numbers rather than like I would have preferred to not have to do that if all they were doing was shopping, if you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
Because I would have used that opportunity to make more calls, maybe run other appointments, whatever.
Yeah, I want to dig into that. I want to save that for another training, but I would tell you simply this is, hey, what are we looking for this coverage to do? What does it look like? How does that make you feel not having this? How would it feel if we found something? Great. Hey, we're going to find something today that meets your needs and fits your budget. And when we do, I'm going to help you apply for it. I'm going to work with the carriers to make sure this gets approved. And so let me kind of show you some options that we have. And I'm going to show them option 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to explain everything in those options. I'm going to show them the death benefits. And you can ask something like, hey, there's no price out there yet. Price comes last. Always comes last. Because confused buyers don't buy. And if you show them a price, as soon as you show a price, you go from like counselor and advocate to salesperson with price out there. And there's no going back. So you have to stay in this role as long as you can. And they go, hey, if everything was free on here, which option would you choose? Everybody says option number 1, right? I said, okay, now we know there's a cost to this. Hey, would you agree that any one of these options would work? We just need to find the one that best fits your budget. Well, yeah, I said, all right, I'm going to show you some numbers here and some costs. Hey, if you need to think about it or pray about it, let me know. I know that means we did not find the right cost for you, and I'll move the numbers around. So I'm just setting up those expectations, getting into it, but I'm also bringing in that emotion till we have to find something.
Thank you.
You bet. We will dig into much more of that in running appointments, maybe even next week, because I really want to dig into the minutia. So, all right. Any last questions on appointment setting? All right, then I have one last question for you guys. Was this helpful with changing your mindset of how we're setting appointments? Can anybody kind of describe that? Maybe what's helped them?
I feel like it was really helpful with the last question. I think that, when you're going through the very beginning, you're asking health questions, they're still kind of like, do I want to do this? They kind of sort of hem and haw. And then for me, my experience was when I got down to that last question, why do you want to do this? Like, what are you trying to protect? There was a lot more investment that went into the conversation. So that was a big closer for me, because that went into me not thinking I was going to get the appointment to her really becoming more like emotionally invested. And then we were able to set it. So that was a really, for me, my mindset is definitely the why, like going into the appointment.
Yeah, I love it. It's important and it's almost necessary. And so just remember, slow down when you get to that one. Let that marinate a little bit. All right, guys, just be respectful of everybody's time. That's the nuggets I got for you. Be prepared for more next week. We'll get into maybe a little bit of role and purpose and how that helps us in locking down and getting the app. So if you have any questions, need any help, please reach out and we will dig in. See you guys soon.